We're on a boat.
Boat.
Anyway, this is a transistor. No, not the Camerata.
Sorry.
These are the bad guys.
He is a man bun.
These guys are
That's
no
how you
good.
know he's evil.
Yeah.
Don't know for what. But
And I mean, the other guy has a cat, so...
He also wears red and has pointy devil beard.
I'm gonna ask him why.
I also have a pointy devil beard.
And I have this feeling he's gonna let us know.
I don't have any of the other character-defining features of an evil villain, though. So... So...
Yeah?
Are we gonna... Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Yeah?
Are you gonna... Screen. Hello?
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 Hello? Oh,
There we go.
Loading.
Almost.
Okay. In future parts, at some point, I do start cutting those. And I also start cutting when I go into and edit my active functions. I don't do that yet. It's like 3 or 4 parts from now. I don't know, I record these way too much in advance. Anyway, these are snapshots. At some point the game will tell us that. Trader, not now. I am yelling at the internet. Trader? Okay.
Nanako?
Snapshots basically take a picture of you. That doesn't do anything, and then they'll shoot like a couple bullets at you. They're pretty, I mean, pretty standard. Once we get to an upgraded version, which actually like impedes your view when you're doing your turn process thingy, that's when they actually become a little bit harder.
Still a step ahead. But they haven't stopped us.
Yeah. So we're gonna explore the town, and whoa,
Whoa, Dave.
What do we have here?
Jack, what'd you do?
Sounds like
Broke something again.
waves.
I opened the door.
God damn it. God damn it, Jack. Why do you do these things? Why do you break things and open things?
So, don't know what I was expecting, but
So, this is
it wasn't this.
the beach.
Yeah.
So
Put the
this
ball.
is a complete...
Yes.
Yeah. This is a completely optional area that you will have access to sometimes. All of the doors open up to practice areas or test areas. Also, you can kind of think about things. I don't know. So, at different points in the game, you'll find these back doors, and then you'll be able to go through these doors, and there'll be multiple tests, as well as a practice area that opens up. These are proficiency tests to see how well you do in certain things. The speed tests specifically want you to kill a wave of process in... Usually it's 1 turn.
Sand.
Or within a certain time limit.
Ah, I hate sand.
Each test... Yeah. Each test gives you function, like a certain set of functions, not necessarily ones that you have access to. Okay. So the speed ones are, you have to clear out all the bad guys, all the process within a certain time frame. There's a proficiency, like there's a couple different test types.
How about this?
How about this instead? Ow.
Yeah, laser beams apparently hurt. Who would have thought?
Laser beams. They do that.
I mean, if you have enough health, you could just stand right into a laser beam and be fine.
True.
I love the I love the lazy beach music here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, what kind of combat music is this?
Come on, every good thing needs a beach episode.
I don't really see, well, I mean, the music fits, but, like, what's going on doesn't really.
No, but I mean, this is also, like I said, optional stuff, so, eh.
This is where Landon plays, what was it? I think it was the third theme of, Emerald Coast.
Oh,
Can't even take us on their own turf. Thought there'd be more of them.
the reason why, like I said, these tests are optional. You do unlock music, because there's like a music player in this area, so you can listen to all the game soundtrack. And then you also get experience points for doing any of this, and more experience points will help out with the later bosses, because they hard.
Well, it's optional, but it kind of feels like you kind of want to do it because it makes you stronger.
That
Yeah.
should be what optional things do. They should make you want to do things.
Well, usually it's because the reward is more than just like level ups. That's because, you know, some people just don't want to grind.
Yeah. Well, this game has a set number of encounters, unless you turn on certain limiters. So, like, the more, like, fights you can do, the better. Because then you get, like, options to hold more functions and just to have more functions in general.
Was hoping it'd be more like before.
Quicker. So, yeah, definitely worth going through those.
That does it.
Postponed. Your favorite sports.
Oh,
Get myself killed.
I've never even heard of these teams before.
What do you mean you've never heard of the Hammers? They are my favorite sports ball team.
Hoping that'll do it for the bad news for a while.
Oh. Wait, why is
You tell them, R.
wait, why was it like? It looked like it was trying to like type several times and it just kept deleting itself.
Because Red's actually typing into it, and then she changes her mind, and then types something out. Or she's actually like, she can actually talk to our favorite sword here by using that. So these are limiter, process limiters. Like I said, these guys will give you additional experience during fights, but also hinder you in fights different ways. I don't have any equipped for this LP because this is just a vanilla run through of the game.
Yeah. Oh.
I usually save any of that type stuff for New Game Pluses, since all of that carries over.
You know, that's. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
That's what this game reminded me of. That fucking what was it? The Calico effect, because
Caligula effect.
yeah, because I mean, well, this game is like real time all the time until you decide to push the "No, it's my turn" button. But I believe that game is turn-based. It's just that everything you do is technically timed, and if you like mistime shit, your combos won't really go off that well.
Yeah. The Caligula effect, which I picked up last year and played like the first half of it, and I think something else came out and I stopped. But it's fun. Like, the combat is really interesting. It is kind of similar to this, and it is all turn-based. This is a generator.
Oh.
It's calling him up.
It'll spit out other shit. Or operator, sorry. But yeah, the Caligula effect, like, you actually can see previews of your fight, like, of each turn, and then you want to make sure you line up attacks to take the most effect. Pretty fun, like, combat system.
Almost kind of reminds me of Arc Rise minus the whole preview thing.
Kind of. I think the preview thing ends up making it work a little bit different because you can actually like knock people into the air, and then that opens up other attacks that like you have to fight in it. Like you want an enemy airborne for the most effect, and so you can
Get him, girl.
do a couple things that way.
Yeah, although, well, I think the preview thing actually kind of gives it less of a percentage of error because instead of like kind of guessing what might happen, it always shows you what will happen.
Yeah, but it's not always 100% because the enemies can like knock themselves out of it. So
Yeah, if I understand that game was that I think the enemy was taking their turn, like because in Transistor everybody freezes, so once you take your turn, they're helpless. Like they can't do anything to stop you. But in that game, I think they take their turn while your turn is actually still going.
yeah.
So yeah, Transistor's a little bit easier because they can't stop your
Yeah, a little bit.
combos. I actually noticed there's no cover here, so you're constantly getting fucking bombarded.
Yeah, that's why I have the dog helper right now, because it makes it super useful to
Dog.
like
Dog.
do additional damage.
Wolf.
Bark.
Bark.
Fork.
So like, are those? I don't think I've ever asked, but are those lasers like if you don't like use your timey wimey powers or just use cover? It doesn't look like they're avoidable.
They're pretty hard to avoid. Yeah.
Yeah, because it looks like the only surefire way to avoid them is to just get in the cover.
That must be how they get here.
Yeah. Walk away.
But this battlefield didn't give you any cover.
Other way to high rise.
I'm going to assume there's
Shut up! Don't tell me where to go.
I'm going to assume there's going to be more fights where they decide you don't deserve cover.
For a while longer.
Yeah, sometimes the next boss, like, you really want to use the cover. We'll get there, and I forget what part it is, but it's coming up here in a little bit.
High rise is dead ahead. Across the canals.
Don't tell me where to go. I know that's his entire point, but don't tell me where to go. I'm busy. I'm busy taking in all of the beautiful scenery.
And the beautiful loading screens.
Yes, those two.
Well, it's better than when it was just a black screen for several seconds.
Yeah.
Much nicer.
The game definitely doesn't have as bad of loading times on, say, the PS4.
Oh.
But we're playing the Switch version because
You lost.
You like playing on Switch?
I like playing on the Switch, and I bought the physical Switch version, and I, need to use it.
See, that's kind of backwards as fuck because the PS4 is definitely more powerful than the Switch, and yet for some reason it takes longer.
Because the PS4 is using a disc and the Switch uses a cartridge, and generally cartridges can load things better than a disc can.
Oh, well, I mean, that was my whole argument about, like, the fact that some cartridges were superior to discs because cartridges used to be instant. Like there was no loading times.
It also helps that generally
Because there was
Switch
less
games.
to load.
Street should be packed.
Generally, Switch games also are. They're God damn it! I had the word right on the tip of my tongue. They're compressed a little bit, like their file size. So
Yeah.
the game is usually data-wise not as big. And that's usually because like anything from like the smallest visual effects have to be tweaked or removed on the Switch because it can't process it as well as the PS4. Whereas the PS4, the file sizes for the games are a lot bigger because of all the processing and stuff involved. So in the long run, yeah, you get a prettier game. You get a game that is going to perform better, but it also loads slower. That's why like the next generation of consoles, I know a big deal that was being made was that they really wanted to make it so that the games load faster because they're using like SSDs for the storage on the system.
Yeah.
Frig.
That's another thing too is that
Next gen consoles.
It's another thing too is like the current gen of consoles with the Xbox One and the PS4 you have to install parts of the game and they're being installed on a regular hard drive, which those aren't fast.
Well, I mean that's the whole thing about like installing games on your like systems and shit is that the games always have to adhere to the rules of the console, which means if a console is weaker than some of its competition, usually the first thing to go is some of the graphical effects.
And I mean it's fine. Like I don't need the prettiest game, it just needs to be pretty enough.
I mean, it's really
Did we
fucking
talk
obvious.
about cluckers before?
I mean, for certain games,
Not
I
really.
mean, I guess if you're okay with it, that's fine. But some games, like, you know, the fact that Witcher 3 finally got on the Switch, it is very noticeable. But,
Were the cluckers in the last part?
I don't believe so.
Okay, I'll explain them real quick. Obvious now that the fight's over. The clucker is like a range unit, but it like shows a big ol' area of where it's gonna hit. So they're pretty easy to avoid as long as you have a turn available to you. Oh, and we leveled up.
Clucker sounds like a slur for chickens.
I think that's what it's supposed
To
to
be fair,
I mean, yes, but like,
chicken,
you know,
chickens deserve a derogatory term.
The sky looks
They're
blue because
fucking
people
annoying.
Guys, we can change the color of the fucking
No
sky.
way.
are still the best.
Except not really. Because, you know,
Now then,
everything's rigged.
back to the scene.
I think I just fuck around with the functions for a little bit.
Sybil Rise. Life of the party.
umbrella.
She was bad news from the first.
I don't think I really have much else to say in this spot. Oh yeah, we get a passive slot. Passive slots are super useful, because some things, like, they, will directly affect the amount of time you get each turn, or, like, you get, like, other bonus stuff. Like, bounce will turn into a shield, which is super useful.
Oh.
But anyway, that's enough for part 4. We will see you guys in part 5 when we figure out what we're doing.